After 4 months of debate, slander, and persecution, this new order, this new convent, has strict rules that are established. There's strict poverty, almost perpetual silence. The nuns, of course, have no money or revenue, so they wear habits of coarse serge. They wear sandals instead of shoes. They are bound to abstinence. They sleep on piles of straw. They eat no meat, and they remain strictly enclosured. They become known as the Barefoot Carmelites, the Discalced. Teresa now begins writing at a fever pitch. The literary works are essentially guidelines or instructions for her new nuns. Her autobiography traces her spiritual life from its beginnings to her union with God in a spiritual marriage, and illustrates the various stages involved in the process. She writes on the subject of the mystical experience in simple but powerful language. There's a classification of her stages of prayer: recollection, quiet, and union, with recollection being the key. This vigorous concentration of one's mental powers, especially the will, on the presence of God. Recollection can lead to a spiritual serenity or inner bliss, a state of composedness in one's everyday life, a deliberate gathering together within oneself of the wandering mind. This discipline increases one's sense of the presence of God. Many books soon follow. Foundations. This book is written for the edification and encouragement of her nuns and novices. The Way of Perfection. This book is written for the spiritual direction of her nuns. And perhaps her most famous work, The Interior Castle. This is written for the instruction of the church itself. This interior castle is a type of spiritual refuge that we can all enter into, even during a busy or hectic life. We can all walk in at any time. Teresa's writings, in fact, lift up the soul to new planes and dimensions of surrealism, mystical flights of the mind, agony and ecstasy at the same moment. These writings reflect the necessity of prayer, the way to pray, and the nature of its fruits. Teresa lifts Spanish literature out of the world of the mundane in which it has entered, the picaresque novel, for example. These amazing works of literature are written during the years in which she is actively engaged in the most difficult business of founding convents and monasteries. Now, the prior general of the Carmelites, John Baptiste Rubio, goes to Avila. He is in fact charmed with St. Teresa and the regulations of the new convent, and he gives his full authority to found other convents using the same plan or method. The new order is now known as the Contemplative Carmelites of Castile. Teresa is in fact a remarkable woman who has conquered many difficulties and founds more orders in the process, at Medina del Campo, at Maragon, at Valladolid. At Medina del Campo, she meets two friars who desire to embrace her ideals for reform. Anthony de Jesus from Heredia, and Juan Yepes, who is known or becomes known as St. John of the Cross. Teresa soon founds a convent for men at a village called Durello. This is 1568. Then a second for men at Pastrana the following year, 1569. She leaves to St. John of the Cross, Juan Yepes, the care of all other future male foundations. They will all practice extreme poverty and austerity. St. John of the Cross becomes her dearest friend and collaborator. I'm going to get more into St. John of the Cross in our next talk segment. All right, at Pastrana,